Alright, this video provides information about using the model ICS85X controller for Ringette. See notes in the video about which controller is used for which arena. There are 4 tasks that we're going to be performing with the game clock: setting the time and the period and running the clock. The second is setting the score. The third is adding a penalty, and the fourth is removing a penalty. So let's dig in. We start by setting the period time and the period number. As you likely know, Ringette games consist of 2 15-minute periods. It's common to set up a 2-minute warm-up period before the game starts. The 2-minute warm-up then starts when the last player steps on the ice. To set up a period using this clock, we go to game time, and then we enter the time. So here we'll set up 02, enter, 00, enter, 0, enter. And we can then set the period to 0. And now you can see we have 2 minutes on the clock for period 0. For this clock, we run it by flicking this run stop switch. So we're running. Here we can see that now the clock is running. The time can be stopped here. So again, when the ref blows the whistle, we're going to flick this stop switch and the clock will stop, as you can see here. Next, I'm going to set up a 15-minute period. So we go game time, 15, enter, 00, enter, 00, enter. And we're going to set the period to 1. So as you enter. So as you can see, we now have 50 minutes on the clock for period 1. And again, we can hit run. It's good to remember that when this expires at the end and you need to set up the next period, often things won't work right unless the clock is stopped. So if things aren't working, check this stop, that the clock is stopped like this before you set up the next period. And that's it for time. Now we're going to talk about goals. Most of the time we're going to be adding goals one at a time, but it's important to know how to set the goal count directly in case we make a mistake. So on this clock, to add a visitor goal, a home goal, we simply go to home goal score, press the number we want. Let's say that's 0, and now we've got 0 goals for the home team. Similarly, to have a visitor score, we could go visitors, and they might have scored a goal, so we hit 3 and then enter, and you can now see that it's 0 to 3. So that's pretty easy. Next, we're going to talk about adding penalties. When a penalty happens, the ref will skate over to the score and say something like, white number 7, 2 minutes for tripping. The person with the score sheet will write this down, but your job is to put it up on the scoreboard. To put the penalty up, we hit home penalty for a home penalty, for example. We give the player number, let's say this was player 16, enter, then 2 minutes, enter, enter. And now you can see we have a penalty up on the scoreboard with probably number 16, given the problems on the scoreboard there. And whenever we start running whenever we start the clock running, like now we've started the clock running, we can see that the penalty is counting down as the clock counts down. So that's very simple. And that's all there is for putting a penalty together. All right, the final step we have is about removing a penalty. If a penalty ends because the 2 minutes have elapsed, there's nothing to do. If the team with more players scores, then the penalty will be canceled. Note that if a team scores when there's a 4-on-4, the penalty is not removed. And similarly, if it's a 4-minute major penalty, the penalty is not removed when somebody scores. To cancel a penalty, we need to get our cursor on the right penalty, and then we're going to push the clear button. So here I push the home penalty button, and we can just barely see that there's flashing there. So then I hit clear, enter, clear, enter, clear, and that penalty's gone. And if you check the scoreboard, the penalty's gone. If there were multiple penalties up here, we would hit the home penalty more than once to go to the right penalty and then clear that penalty. That's all, thanks. Okay, and that's everything you need to know when working the clock. Remember, there are 4 big steps we're going to do: setting the time up, setting the score, adding a penalty, clearing a penalty, personally, as soon as the Zamboni comes on, I like to go to the scoreboard if I'm responsible for the scoreboard, and just go through those 4 steps with that scoreboard just to make sure I know how to do it. So I'd suggest you do that. Finally, don't stress too much. The league is run by volunteers, and we're all just doing our best. And as long as you do your best, that's good. Thanks. Bye.